I've been seeing a lot of EV, electric vehicles are not the solution to the problems that we have. And while I think there's a valid point to be made there, I think what trying to make that point that simply, that baldly kind of does is it sets people, we're by no means accepting of electric vehicles as a society, as a mainstream. It's still very much a hill that we are climbing. And it makes me sad to see editorials and opinion pieces and even some reporting that EVs are not the solution. Well, in a sense, more cars are not the solution. However, the point that none of those articles ever mention is that electric vehicles are way better than ICE vehicles. And that's the progression, is perhaps ICE vehicles, electric vehicles, and then less vehicles, better mass transit. Anyway, so here's an interesting thing from a San Francisco Chronicle article this past week. Between 1990 and 2016, despite a sizable 35% increase in overall fuel efficiency of our national vehicle fleet, national emissions rose by 21%. Now, your head's spinning. You're like, how in the hell is that even possible? Why? Because those improvements were accompanied by a 50% increase in driving.
Do you know what happens when you give someone more energy efficient light bulbs?
They burn more energy.
They never turn them off.
Yep.
It's not just me saying that. It's been proven. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, if you give people cheap gas, they drive more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
stuff like that.
I mean, you're right. If your vehicle's more fuel efficient and it costs you less to get from point A to point B, you're going to drive it.
Right.
Again, this is an argument though that's fraught with difficulties. You know what I mean? As I've said on Twitter many times, the solution is less cars.
Yes.
Bottom line, that the solution is less cars, whatever their makeup. But an interim solution, just as hybrids were an interim solution, is perhaps better cars. We're not going to get rid of personally owned automobiles in the United States anytime soon. For better or worse.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. You know, it's we do have. I've used this scenario with people before. We have people who have a quarter, and we offer to give them 75 cents, and they complain because it's not $1.
Yep.
It's like, okay, you've got something that's heavily polluting, something that will kill you. We would like to replace it with something that's better as we transcend to something that's even better yet. So don't complain about the middle step. We're not finished yet. But people don't want to change anything because they're like, well, but it's not perfect. You need to get it perfect right out of the gate, or we're not going to adopt it.
I'm not even going to look at it because it's not perfect yet.
Perfect is the enemy of good.
Right, yeah.
Mr. Coughlin is wise.
Yes, he is. And sometimes that's enough to get people to be resistant to any change at all.
Well, when it's an excuse, like I'm going to keep my F-150 until there's a perfect solution because this other solution isn't as good. Oh, well, that makes no fucking sense at all. But hey, thanks for playing.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, one more. I'm going to throw one more number. Anybody have any idea what the single largest? Well, obvious. I'm not going to play that game. Transportation is the single largest source of climate pollution. 82% of that pollution comes from cars and trucks. 82%. The answer is less ICE vehicles and ultimately less vehicles.
Yeah.
Assuming we still want to breathe. I mean, and maybe breathing is passé.
One thing I'd like to add is that is there possibly the the segregation between cars and CUVs, SUVs, and trucks. This transition from people going from passenger cars to a bigger vehicle, and they're in a different category, right? So there are emission controls against each category. Is it the problem that people are moving from the smaller vehicles to the bigger vehicles that are less emission constrained? Is that part of this problem about the more pollution? As we
Yes.
move to bigger, more polluting vehicles, the gains that we made in the smaller passenger vehicles are negated because the bigger vehicles are emitting more pollutants anyways.
Even though the bigger vehicles are cleaner than they used to be, people are still driving more. It's the increase in size of vehicles, and it's the just more people driving.
Well, and in a lot of states, the cost of housing has gone up, so people are driving
Farther.
buying homes further from their workplace and driving more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. So
Because
the,
they have
the
to.
idea of like, hey, let's follow Europe and Manhattan and make dense cities where people can live and walk to work and take public transit. That's not happening quick enough.
No.